I never imagined that authenticating a signature would change my life forever. My name is Julia Torres, and I'm the lead forensic handwriting analyst for Santa Clara County. Today, I'm staring down the barrel of the most high-profile case of my career. The defendant's attorney, a sharp-tongued woman in an expensive suit, is trying to tear apart 3 years of my meticulous analysis. Miss Torres, isn't it true that handwriting analysis is more art than science? I lean into the microphone. Absolutely not. Forensic document examination follows strict scientific protocols. The courtroom buzzes with tension. This case involves a disputed will worth $12 million, and my testimony will determine whether the signature is genuine or forged. I've examined thousands of documents in my 8-year career, but something about this particular manuscript feels different. Yet you claim this signature is authentic, based on what you call microscopic characteristics? Correct. The pen pressure variations, letter formations, and connecting strokes all match the known exemplars. That's when I notice her. Third row, blonde hair catching the afternoon light streaming through the courthouse windows. She's watching me with an intensity that makes my pulse quicken. Not the typical court observer. Her blue eyes seem to analyze every word I speak, as if she understands the nuances of document authentication. The defense attorney continues her assault. How many times have you been wrong, Miss Torres? My error rate is less than 2% over 8 years. But you have been wrong. On minor determinations, yes. Never on a forgery of this magnitude. The blonde woman leans forward slightly. She's wearing a burgundy blazer that suggests money but not flashiness. Professional, but with an elegance that seems out of place in this sterile courtroom setting. Judge Martinez calls for a brief recess. As I step down from the witness stand, I scan the gallery, but she's gone. Vanished like she was never there. My supervisor, Roger Scott, approaches with his typical scowl. Torres, this better stick. The DA's reputation is riding on your analysis. The evidence is solid, Roger. The signature's a fake. How solid? Because if this falls apart, it reflects on the entire department. Roger always makes everything about politics and appearances. At 45, he's more concerned with his next promotion than actual forensic accuracy. His gray eyes hold no warmth, only calculation. 2 hours later, the jury returns with their verdict. Guilty on all counts of document forgery. My analysis held up, but I can't shake the image of those blue eyes watching me from the gallery. Walking to my car in the courthouse parking garage, I wonder who she was, and why she seemed so fascinated by handwriting analysis. Most people find my work about as exciting as watching paint dry. I unlock my Honda, my mind already shifting to tomorrow's caseload. 3 insurance fraud documents and a questioned suicide note. Just another day in the world of forensic document examination. But something tells me that mysterious blonde observer will cross my path again. In my line of work, I've learned to trust my instincts about these things. The real mystery isn't the forged signature I just authenticated. It's why a complete stranger seemed to hang on every word of my testimony, then disappeared the moment I noticed her watching. The last thing I want to do on Saturday morning is attend a community potluck, but my neighbor Mrs. Chen has been persistent about my hermit lifestyle since my breakup with Sarah 6 months ago. You need to get out more, Julia. Meet people who aren't criminals or lawyers. So here I am, balancing my grandmother's Mediterranean quinoa salad recipe while navigating the crowded Willow Glen Community Park. Spring in San Jose means perfect weather, which translates to overly enthusiastic neighbors and their screaming children. The picnic tables stretch across the grass like a suburban fever dream. I spot an empty corner near the oak trees, perfect for making a polite appearance before escaping back to my quiet apartment and crime lab reports. Setting down my glass bowl, I notice someone approaching with an identical dish. Same blue pottery, same colorful vegetables arranged on top. My heart stops when I recognize the blonde hair and those piercing blue eyes from the courthouse. Well, this is embarrassing. Her voice carries a slight smile. Great minds think alike, I suppose. Either that, or we shop at the same farmer's market. I extend my hand. Julia Torres. Michelle Cooper. Her handshake is firm, confident. I saw you in court Tuesday. Impressive testimony. My stomach does an unexpected flip. You were watching the forgery trial? Professional interest. I deal with document authentication in my work. She's even more beautiful up close. The afternoon sunlight catches golden highlights in her hair, and her blue eyes hold an intelligence that makes me want to know more. Way more. What kind of work involves document authentication? Rare books and manuscripts. I run a small antiquarian book business downtown. That explains the courthouse visit. Research? She nods. I was curious about forensic techniques versus historical provenance methods. Your approach was fascinating. An elderly woman approaches our table, eyeing both identical salads with amusement. You two must be meant for each other. Never seen matching dishes at a potluck before. Heat rises in my cheeks. We were just discussing recipes. Of course, dear. The woman winks before moving on to terrorize other attendees. Michelle laughs, a sound that sends warmth through my chest. She's not wrong about the salad. Did you use the lemon herb dressing from Garcia's Market? With extra oregano. You? Same. Plus those cherry tomatoes from the organic stand near the fountain. We're standing closer now, and I catch a hint of her perfume. Something subtle and expensive that makes me want to lean in. So, forensic handwriting analysis, she says, helping herself to a small portion of her own salad. How did you end up in that field? Started in criminal justice, discovered I had an eye for document details. Turns out I can spot a forged signature from across the room. Useful skill in my business, too. I've seen some elaborate attempts to fake historical documents. The money involved makes people creative. How creative are we talking? Her expression grows serious. Last month, someone tried to sell me a first edition Mark Twain manuscript. Beautiful forgery, but the ink composition was completely wrong for the 1880s. You caught that without scientific analysis? Years of experience. But I'd love to learn more about your forensic techniques. There's something in the way she says it that suggests more than professional curiosity. Her eyes linger on mine a moment too long, and I feel that familiar flutter I haven't experienced since Sarah. I could show you the lab sometime, if you're interested. I'm very interested. The double meaning hangs between us like a question neither of us is ready to ask directly. A group of children runs past, chasing a soccer ball and breaking the spell. Michelle glances at her watch. I should probably make my rounds, meet the neighbors. But Julia... She pauses, seemingly weighing her words. I'd really like to continue this conversation, about document authentication, I mean. Of course. Professional consultation. Exactly. Her smile suggests otherwise. She pulls a business card from her purse. Heavy stock paper, elegant typography. Michelle Cooper, rare books and manuscripts. An address on South First Street. Call me when you have time to discuss forensic techniques. I watch her walk away, noting the confident way she moves through the crowd, stopping to chat with neighbors like she belongs here. Like she's always belonged here. Mrs. Chen appears beside me, grinning. Nice girl. Single? I have no idea. Find out. Michelle's call comes 3 days later, just as I'm finishing a particularly tedious insurance fraud case involving allegedly forged medical documents. Julia, I have something that might interest you. A document that needs expert analysis. Her voice over the phone carries an urgency I didn't hear at the picnic. Professional, but with an undertone that makes my pulse quicken. What kind of document? 18th century manuscript. Potential auction value in the 7 figures, but something feels off about it. I glance around the lab. Roger's in his office, door closed, probably arguing with the district attorney's office about budget allocations. Perfect timing for an off-the-books consultation. Bring it by the lab. I can take a preliminary look. When's good for you? Now works. Before my supervisor decides to micromanage my afternoon. She arrives 30 minutes later, carrying a leather portfolio that screams expensive. Today she's wearing a charcoal suit that highlights her blonde hair and those blue eyes that have been haunting my thoughts since Saturday. This is impressive. She surveys my lab equipment with genuine appreciation, much more sophisticated than I imagined. State-of-the-art digital microscopes, spectral imaging, ink analysis capabilities. I'm showing off slightly, but her interest seems authentic. What do we have? Michelle carefully removes the document from its protective sleeve. A single page of aged parchment covered in elegant handwriting. The paper looks appropriately yellowed, the ink faded to the brownish hue typical of centuries-old iron gall formulations. Supposedly a personal letter from Benjamin Franklin to John Adams, dated 1778. The seller claims it's been in his family for generations. I position the document under my primary analysis microscope. What's your gut feeling? Everything looks right. Paper, ink color, writing style, but something about the letter formation bothers me. Adjusting the magnification, I focus on individual characters. The ink appears properly aged, but under higher magnification, subtle inconsistencies emerge. The A formations show modern pen pressure variations, and the connecting strokes between letters lack the natural flow of period writing implements. You're right to be suspicious. I point to specific areas under the microscope. Look at these pressure patterns. She leans close, her shoulder brushing mine as she peers into the eyepiece. The contact sends an unexpected jolt through my system. Her perfume is even more intoxicating in the controlled environment of the lab. I see what you mean. Too consistent for a quill pen. Exactly. And here, where the ink pools slightly. Modern fountain pen characteristics, not iron gall ink applied with period tools. Our faces are inches apart now as we examine the document together. I can feel her breath on my cheek, and when she turns to look at me, our lips almost touch. This is fascinating, Julia, how you can spot these details. There's something electric in the way she says my name. Her hand rests on the lab bench next to mine, close enough that I could easily reach over and touch her fingers. Roger's voice booms from his office, breaking the spell. Torres, what's the status on the Henderson insurance case? Almost finished, I call back, but my voice sounds strained. Michelle straightens, professional distance restored. So it's definitely a forgery? I'd need to run spectral analysis to be absolutely certain, but yes, very sophisticated work though. Whoever created this knows historical document characteristics. Any idea who might be capable of this level of forgery? Could be someone in the antiquarian book trade. Access to period materials, knowledge of historical writing techniques. I pause, studying her reaction. Someone like you, theoretically. She laughs, but there's nervousness in it. Except, I'm the one who brought it to you for authentication. Perfect cover story. Are you always this suspicious of your clients? Only the attractive ones, who show up at my court testimony before hiring me. The words slip out before I can stop them. Michelle's cheeks flush pink, and I realize I've crossed some invisible professional line. I should let you get back to your insurance case. She begins carefully repacking the document. What do I owe you for the analysis? Consider it a consultation between colleagues. Colleagues. She tests the word like it doesn't fit quite right. Is that what we are? Before I can answer, Roger emerges from his office, his gray eyes immediately fixing on Michelle with predatory interest. Miss Torres, who's our visitor? Michelle Cooper. She owns a rare book business downtown. I was providing document authentication services. Roger extends his hand to Michelle, holding the contact longer than necessary. Roger Scott, department supervisor. Any friend of Julia's is welcome here. The way he emphasizes friend makes my skin crawl. Roger has a talent for making everything sound vaguely inappropriate. Actually, I was just leaving. Michelle gathers her portfolio quickly. Thank you for the consultation, Julia. She's almost to the lab door when she turns back. I'd like to learn more about your forensic techniques. Perhaps over dinner sometime? Professional development. Roger's eyebrows rise with obvious interest in this exchange. I'd like that, I managed to say, acutely aware of my supervisor's scrutiny. After Michelle leaves, Roger settles against my workbench with his typical smirk. Attractive client. Single? I have no idea. Find out. Might be good for the department's community relations. His suggestion carries implications that make my stomach turn, but I simply nod and return to my microscope, hoping he can't see how Michelle Cooper has already gotten under my skin. Michelle calls the next evening while I'm reviewing case files at home. Her voice carries a warm intimacy that makes my apartment feel less empty. Are you free for dinner? I thought we could discuss your forensic methods over something more interesting than lab equipment. Where did you have in mind? My place. I promise to cook something that doesn't involve quinoa salad. Her brownstone on South First Street surprises me with its understated elegance. Books line every wall, and the scent of something delicious drifts from the kitchen. Michelle greets me wearing dark jeans and a cream sweater that makes her blue eyes luminous. Wine? She offers a glass of red that probably costs more than my weekly grocery budget. Thanks. This place is incredible. 20 years of collecting rare books has its advantages. She gestures toward shelves filled with leather-bound volumes. Most of my net worth is sitting on these walls. We settle at her dining table surrounded by first editions and manuscripts. The salmon she's prepared is perfectly seasoned, and the conversation flows easier than it should between two people who barely know each other. How did you get into rare books? English literature degree, followed by years working for other dealers. Finally saved enough to go independent 3 years ago. She pauses, swirling her wine. My ex-girlfriend thought I was crazy to leave a steady salary. The casual mention hits me like a physical sensation. Relief mixed with excitement, and something deeper I'm not ready to examine. Ex-girlfriend? Rebecca. 5-year relationship that ended badly. She wanted stability, I wanted autonomy. Classic incompatibility. Michelle's eyes meet mine. What about you? Anyone significant? Sarah. 6 months ago. Similar story, different details. The admission hangs between us, shifting the evening from professional consultation to something more personal and dangerous. So we're both recently single, former long-term relationships. Appears so. Rain begins pattering against the windows, turning Michelle's cozy dining room into an intimate sanctuary. She refills our glasses, and I notice her hand trembling slightly. Julia, can I ask you something? Shoot. That document I brought to your lab, the Franklin letter. I lied about how I acquired it. My forensic instincts sharpen. What do you mean? A client approached me last month, wanted authentication for insurance purposes, claimed family provenance. But when I started asking questions about the document's history, he became evasive, aggressive even. Did he threaten you? Not directly. But he made it clear that questioning the document's authenticity would have consequences. Thunder rumbles outside, and Michelle moves to close the curtains. The simple action highlights the graceful line of her neck, and I have to concentrate on her words instead of the way the lamplight catches in her hair. So you brought it to me for a second opinion. I brought it to you because I needed someone I could trust. Someone with no connection to the antiquarian community. Why trust me? We barely know each other. She returns to the table, sitting closer this time. Because I watched you testify in court. I saw how you handled pressure, how you stood by your analysis despite aggressive questioning. That takes integrity. The compliment warms me more than the wine. Michelle reaches across the table and covers my hand with hers. The contact sends electricity up my arm. There's something else, Julia. Something I haven't told you. What? I didn't randomly show up at that community picnic. I looked you up after the trial. Found out where you lived, what community events you might attend. I should feel disturbed by this admission. But instead, I'm flattered. So you stalked me? I prefer strategic research. Her thumb traces across my knuckles. I wanted to see you again, but approaching you directly seemed too forward. And bringing a forged document to my lab wasn't forward? That was business. This is personal. Rain intensifies against the windows, providing cover for the conversation neither of us is quite brave enough to have directly. Michelle's hand remains on mine, warm and soft and definitely not accidental. I should probably go. This weather's getting worse. You could stay. The words emerge quickly, as if she's afraid of losing her nerve. I have a guest room. Couch is comfortable too if you prefer. We both know she's not talking about sleeping arrangements. The offer carries implications that make my pulse race and my rational mind sound warning alarms. Michelle? I know this is complicated. Your work, my situation with that document, but I haven't felt this way about anyone in a long time. She stands and moves to the window, wrapping her arms around herself, vulnerable in a way that makes me want to protect her from whatever consequences honesty might bring. I join her at the window, close enough to feel her warmth. I haven't either. When she turns toward me, her blue eyes hold a question I'm not sure I'm ready to answer. But when she reaches up to touch my face, every rational objection melts away. Our lips meet softly, tentatively, like we're both testing whether this moment is real. Her mouth tastes like wine and possibility, and when she deepens the kiss, I realize I've been holding my breath since the moment I met her. Thunder crashes overhead, but I barely notice. Michelle's hands slide into my hair, and every nerve ending comes alive under her touch. "Stay," she whispers against my lips. This time, I don't hesitate. Waking up in Michelle's bed feels simultaneously natural and terrifying. Morning light filters through her bedroom curtains, and I can hear her moving around the kitchen downstairs. The scent of coffee drifts up, mixing with the lingering fragrance of her perfume on the pillow beside me. Last night changed everything. The way she touched me, whispered my name in the darkness, made me feel desired in ways Sarah never did. But as I gather my scattered clothes, the weight of professional complications crashes back. "Coffee's ready," Michelle calls from downstairs. She's wearing an oversized sweater and leggings, hair tousled from sleep. The sight of her in casual morning clothes makes my chest tight with emotions I'm not prepared to examine. I should probably head home. Change clothes before work? Of course. She pours coffee into a travel mug. "Julia, about last night?" "No regrets," I interrupt, surprising myself with the certainty. Her smile transforms her entire face. "Good. Because I have something to tell you that might complicate things further." "More complicated than sleeping with a client?" "I'm entering the International Manuscript Authentication Championship next month, in San Francisco." I nearly drop the coffee mug. The IMAC is legendary in document analysis circles. 12 of the world's top authenticators competing in a high-stakes tournament for a $50,000 prize and industry recognition. "Michelle, that competition is insane. The skill level required..." "I know. But I need the prize money to expand my business, and the professional credibility would open doors that have been closed to independent dealers." "What can I do to help?" The offer slips out before I consider the implications. Roger already suspects something about my relationship with Michelle, and coaching a championship competitor would definitely cross professional boundaries. "You'd do that?" "If you're serious about this, you'll need to understand forensic analysis techniques. The competition includes identifying sophisticated forgeries under time pressure." Michelle sets down her mug and moves closer. "There's something else. My primary competition will be Fiona Torres." The name hits me like a slap. "Fiona Torres from the Chicago Authentication Institute?" "You know her?" "She's my former colleague. We worked together at the FBI lab before I transferred to Santa Clara County. Brilliant analyst but ruthless when it comes to professional advancement." "Is that a problem?" I think about Fiona's competitive nature, her willingness to sabotage colleagues for personal gain. It might be. She doesn't handle losing well. Then we better make sure she doesn't win. The next 3 weeks blur together in intensive training sessions. Michelle transforms my apartment into a document analysis workshop. We practice identifying forgery techniques, studying ink composition under various lighting conditions, analyzing paper aging methods. Her natural instincts are remarkable. She spots inconsistencies that would take most people years to develop, and her knowledge of historical writing materials gives her advantages over purely technical competitors. "Look at this signature formation." I point to a practice document. "What do you notice about the pen pressure?" "Too consistent for hand fatigue. No natural variation in stroke weight." She examines it closer. "Probably traced rather than freehand." "Exactly. You're ready for this competition." Our training sessions inevitably blur the line between professional and personal. Late nights studying documents turn into stolen kisses and whispered conversations about futures neither of us dares plan explicitly. One evening, as rain patters against my apartment windows, Michelle looks up from a particularly challenging practice set. "Julia, what happens after the competition?" "You win, collect your prize money, and build the business you've always wanted." "That's not what I meant." I know exactly what she means. We've spent 3 weeks in this intensive bubble, avoiding the reality that our relationship exists in professionally dangerous territory. "I don't know," I admit. Roger's already suspicious about the time I'm spending on consulting work. If he discovers I'm coaching his former colleague's primary competitor, we could be discreet. We're already being discreet. It's not enough. Michelle closes the document folder and moves to sit beside me on the couch. Her hand finds mine with familiar warmth. Whatever happens, these weeks have meant everything to me. When she kisses me this time, there's desperation underlying the tenderness, like she's trying to memorize the moment before everything changes. Later, tangled together in my bed, Michelle traces patterns on my shoulder, while I try to ignore the voice in my head cataloging all the ways this could destroy my career. The competition's in 5 days, she whispers. Nervous? Terrified. Not about the technical challenges, but about what comes after. I understand completely. Success would launch Michelle's career, but potentially end whatever's developing between us. Failure would crush her professional dreams. Either outcome forces us to confront questions we've been avoiding for weeks. Michelle? Yeah? Win this thing. Regardless of what happens between us, you deserve recognition for your skills. She lifts her head to look at me, blue eyes reflecting the city lights filtering through my bedroom window. Promise me something, Julia. What? After next week, whatever happens professionally, we'll figure out the personal part together. I want to promise her everything will work out perfectly, but my forensic training demands honesty over optimism. I promise we'll try. It's the best I can offer, and from her smile, it seems to be enough. Roger's waiting in my office Monday morning with a coffee cup and that predatory smile that means trouble. Torres, we need to discuss your recent consulting activities. My blood turns to ice. What about them? Michelle Cooper's been spending considerable time here. Unusual for a rare book dealer to require such extensive forensic consultation. I keep my expression neutral despite the panic clawing at my chest. Complex authentication issues require thorough analysis. I'm sure they do. Roger settles into the chair across from my desk like he owns it, especially when the consultant is as attractive as Miss Cooper. My professional relationships are exactly that. Professional. Of course. Which is why you won't mind ending this particular consultation arrangement. What? Roger's gray eyes hold no warmth. Miss Cooper represents a potential conflict of interest. Her business connections could compromise departmental integrity. That's ridiculous. She's a legitimate book dealer seeking authentication services. She's also entered in a high-profile competition that could reflect poorly on this department if our personnel appear to show favoritism. Damn. He knows about the championship. Which means he's been investigating Michelle more thoroughly than I realized. Roger, my consultation work doesn't interfere with departmental responsibilities. It interferes when it creates the appearance of impropriety. He leans forward, voice dropping to something barely above a whisper, particularly when that consultation extends beyond normal business hours. The implication hits me like a physical blow. He knows. Maybe not the specific details, but enough to destroy my career if he chooses. What exactly are you suggesting? I'm suggesting you maintain appropriate professional distance from MS Cooper, effective immediately. And if I refuse? Roger's smile turns vicious. Career advancement opportunities become limited. Recommendations for federal positions disappear. Your current position becomes subject to performance reviews that might not go favorably. The threat hangs between us like poison gas. 8 years of building my reputation, countless cases solved through meticulous analysis, all reduced to Roger's petty power games. I understand. Excellent. I knew you'd see reason. After Roger leaves, I stare at my phone for 20 minutes before dialing Michelle's number. Each ring feels like another nail in the coffin of whatever we've built together. Julia? You sound strange. We need to meet, but not at your place or the lab. What's wrong? Roger knows. About the coaching, the competition, probably more. Silence stretches between us, heavy with implications neither wants to voice. Meet me at Café Rosalena in an hour. The coffee shop on Willow Street provides enough background noise for private conversation without the intimacy of Michelle's home. She's waiting in a corner booth, tension visible in every line of her posture. How much does he know? Enough to threaten my career if I continue any association with you. Michelle's face goes pale. Julia, I never meant for this to happen. It's not your fault. Roger's been looking for leverage against me since I got promoted over his preferred candidate. So what do we do? The question I've been dreading since Roger's visit. There's no good answer that protects both my career and our relationship. You focus on winning the championship. I'll handle Roger. That's not what I meant. I know exactly what she means. The same question that's been eating at me for weeks. What happens to us when professional obligations collide with personal feelings? Michelle, If Roger suspects we're involved romantically, he'll destroy everything I've worked for. So we pretend this never happened? We be smart about it, discreet, give him no ammunition to use against either of us. Michelle reaches across the table for my hand, then stops herself. The gesture breaks something inside my chest. This is killing me, Julia. It's killing me too. Then let's not do it. Tell Roger to go to hell. Find another job if necessary. It's not that simple. My reputation in forensic analysis is everything. Roger has connections throughout California. One negative recommendation and I'm finished in this field. There are other fields, other opportunities. Not for me. This is what I'm good at, what I've trained my whole life to do. Michelle leans back in the booth, blue eyes bright with unshed tears. So your career matters more than whatever this is between us. That's not fair, isn't it? You're choosing professional security over personal happiness. The accusation stings because there's truth in it. But she doesn't understand the years of fighting for credibility in a male-dominated field, the sacrifices required to build expertise Roger could destroy with a few carefully placed phone calls. I'm choosing survival. Whose survival? Because I'm fighting for mine too. That championship prize money isn't just career advancement, Julia. It's the difference between financial independence and losing everything I've built. Her voice breaks slightly on the last words, and I realize how much pressure she's carrying. The competition isn't just about professional recognition. It's about basic survival in an industry that doesn't welcome independent female dealers. What if you win? Then what happens between us? I don't know. But I know that hiding from Roger won't make the problems disappear. A couple enters the cafe, their laughter jarring against the tension at our table. Normal people living normal lives without workplace politics threatening to destroy their relationships. Michelle? I need time to think. How much time? The competition's in 4 days. After San Francisco. After we know how everything plays out professionally. She nods, but I can see the disappointment in her eyes. Will you at least wish me luck? You don't need luck. You're ready for this competition. Michelle stands to leave, pausing beside my chair. For a moment, I think she might kiss my cheek, or squeeze my shoulder. Instead, she simply says, I hope you figure out what you really want, Julia, before it's too late. Watching her walk away feels like watching my future dissolve into possibilities I'm too afraid to pursue. The Hyatt Regency San Francisco buzzes with nervous energy as 12 of the world's top manuscript authenticators prepare for the international championship. I shouldn't be here. Roger made his position crystal clear about maintaining distance from Michelle, but watching her compete from my hotel room feels like cowardice. She spots me in the registration lobby, surprise flickering across her face before professional composure takes over. Today she's wearing a navy blazer that makes her blue eyes luminous, hair pulled back in a style that suggests serious business. Julia, I didn't expect to see you here. Couldn't miss the competition. Strictly as an observer. Of course. The formality in her voice cuts deeper than Roger's threats. Fiona Torres approaches with predatory confidence, her red hair catching the morning light. She's gained weight since our FBI days, but her green eyes still hold that calculating intelligence I remember. Julia Torres. Heard you were working county cases now. Fiona's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Step down from federal work? Career change suited my goals. I'm sure. Fiona's attention shifts to Michelle. You must be my primary competition. Michelle Cooper, correct? Impressive preliminary scores. Thank you. Your reputation precedes you. Does it? All good things, I hope. Fiona's laugh carries an edge. Competition can bring out unexpected behavior in people. After Fiona moves away, Michelle leans closer. She seems charming. Fiona plays to win. Watch yourself around her. Are you worried about me? The question hangs between us, loaded with everything we haven't said since that conversation at Cafe Rosalena. I'm worried about everyone Fiona considers competition. The first preliminary round tests speed authentication under time pressure. Competitors analyze 5 documents in 30 minutes, identifying forgeries from authentics. I watch from the gallery as Michelle works with focused precision, her training evident in every careful examination. Fiona finishes first, confident smirk intact. Michelle completes her analysis with 2 minutes remaining, methodical approach serving her well. When scores are announced, she's placed second behind Fiona by a single point. During the lunch break, I catch Michelle near the hotel cafe. How do you feel about round 1? Confident. That Renaissance manuscript was tricky, but I caught the ink inconsistencies. Your analysis looked solid from where I sat. She glances around the busy lobby, then steps closer. Julia, having you here matters, even if we can't acknowledge it publicly. Roger would lose his mind if he knew I was in San Francisco. Are you planning to tell him? Not unless someone else does first. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Interesting to see county personnel supporting championship competitors. Professional boundaries seem fluid in Santa Clara. Blood drains from my face as I realize someone's watching us, documenting our interactions. Michelle notices my expression immediately. What's wrong? We're being monitored. Someone's taking photos, sending messages. Michelle scans the lobby with new awareness. Fiona? Possibly. Or someone connected to Roger. Either way, we need to be more careful. The afternoon elimination round narrows the field to 6 competitors. Michelle advances comfortably, but I notice equipment problems during her analysis session. Her digital microscope flickers intermittently, and the document lighting system experiences mysterious power fluctuations. From the gallery, I watch Fiona working with perfectly functioning equipment, while Michelle struggles with technical difficulties. The sabotage is subtle but effective, designed to create doubt without obvious cheating. During the break, Michelle finds me in the hotel corridor. Someone's tampering with my station. Can you prove it? Not without causing a scene that might disqualify me. What do you need? Time to recalibrate my equipment before the final round tomorrow. But security monitors the competition area overnight. I check the hallway for observers. I might have a solution. Roger has law enforcement connections throughout California. I could request security footage review for potential equipment tampering. That would expose your involvement here. Maybe it's time to stop hiding. Michelle's eyes widen. Are you serious? If someone's sabotaging the competition, it's bigger than personal complications with my supervisor. That evening, I call Roger from my hotel room. His voice carries suspicious interest when I explain the situation. You're in San Francisco? For a manuscript competition? Observing. Professional development. Involving Miss Cooper's participation? Involving potential fraud that could reflect poorly on authentication standards industry-wide? Roger's silence stretches long enough to make me nervous. Handle it discreetly. No official department involvement. Understood. But as I hang up, I realize Roger's tone suggested he already knew about my San Francisco trip. Which means the anonymous messages might be coming from closer to home than I thought. Late that night, I use my law enforcement credentials to access the competition area. Michelle meets me near her workstation, tools in hand for equipment inspection. Any luck with the microscope? Someone adjusted the calibration settings, subtle enough to cause problems without obvious malfunction. She works quickly, fingers steady despite the stress. Professional job. Fiona's certainly capable. So are other people with forensic training. The implication hits me as we examine her document scanner. Someone with law enforcement background could easily sabotage competition equipment. Someone with connections to monitor my activities and photograph my interactions with Michelle. Julia, there's something else. I received a hotel message this afternoon. Someone wants to meet about business opportunities after the competition. What kind of business? Authentication services for high-value historical documents. Private collectors, no questions asked. My forensic instincts scream warning signals. That sounds like the forged document network we discussed. Did you respond? Not yet. But the meeting's scheduled for tomorrow night, after the final round. Don't go alone. Michelle looks up from her equipment repairs. Are you volunteering to accompany me? If necessary. She moves closer, close enough that I catch her familiar perfume. Even if it means more complications with Roger? Some things are more important than job security. When Michelle kisses me, soft and urgent in the darkened competition hall, I realize what I've been afraid to admit for weeks. Whatever happens professionally, I'm not walking away from her without a fight. Win tomorrow, I whisper against her lips. Then we'll figure everything else out together. The final championship round begins at 9 a.m. sharp. 6 competitors remain, including Michelle and Fiona, facing the most challenging authentication test in the industry. I watch from the gallery as Michelle settles at her repaired workstation. Her equipment functions perfectly now, but the psychological pressure of yesterday's sabotage lingers. Fiona sits 2 stations away, radiating confidence that borders on arrogance. The challenge involves authenticating a complex manuscript with multiple potential forgery elements. Competitors have 2 hours to provide detailed analysis and final determination. Prize money and industry recognition hang on every microscopic detail. Michelle begins methodically, examining paper composition under various lighting conditions. Her technique reflects weeks of training we conducted together, and I feel proud watching her apply forensic principles with growing confidence. Fiona works faster, relying on experience and intuition, but speed creates opportunities for error, and I notice her skipping verification steps that Michelle performs religiously. Halfway through the competition, hotel security approaches my gallery seat. "Ma'am, you need to come with us." "What's the problem?" "Someone reported suspicious behavior. Authentication tampering allegations." My heart sinks as they escort me from the competition hall. In the hotel security office, Roger waits with grim satisfaction and 2 federal agents I don't recognize. "Julia, meet Agent Martinez and Agent Chen from the FBI's Art Crime Division. They're investigating document forgery networks operating through authentication competitions." Agent Martinez, a stern woman with graying hair, opens a file folder. "Miss Torres, we need to discuss your relationship with Michelle Cooper and potential involvement in fraudulent authentication services." "What are you suggesting?" "We have evidence suggesting Miss Cooper's been approached by organized forgery operations. Your coaching relationship creates appearance of law enforcement collaboration with potential criminal enterprises." "That's ridiculous. Michelle brought suspicious documents to my lab for legitimate analysis." Agent Chen, younger with penetrating dark eyes, slides photographs across the table. Images of Michelle and me at various training sessions, intimate moments captured with telephoto lenses. "These suggest your relationship extends beyond professional consultation." Heat rises in my cheeks, but I maintain composure. "My personal life doesn't compromise professional integrity." Roger leans forward. "It compromises departmental reputation, especially when romantic entanglements involve potential criminal investigations." Michelle isn't a criminal. She's competing legitimately for prize money to fund her business. "Perhaps," Agent Martinez concedes. "But her business connections include clients offering substantial payments for questionable authentication services that bypass normal provenance verification." Through the security office window, I can see the competition hall where Michelle's fighting for her professional future, while I'm trapped defending mine. "What do you want from me?" "Cooperation. If Miss Cooper's contacted by forgery networks after this competition, we need someone close enough to gather evidence." "You want me to spy on her?" "We want you to protect her and help us dismantle criminal operations that threaten legitimate authentication services." The request creates an impossible choice. Cooperate and betray Michelle's trust, or refuse and face criminal investigation myself. I need to think about this. Take your time. But remember, obstruction of federal investigations carries serious consequences. They release me just as the final round concludes. Michelle emerges from the competition hall looking exhausted, but hopeful. When she spots me near the hotel lobby, relief floods her features. "Where were you?" "I looked for you in the gallery." "Security issue." "Nothing important." She studies my face with the analytical skills that made her championship competitive. "You look shaken. What kind of security issue?" Before I can answer, competition officials announce the results. Tension fills the lobby as names are called in reverse order. 3rd place, Thomas Richardson from London Authentication Services. Michelle grabs my hand, squeezing tight. 2nd place, Fiona Torres from Chicago Authentication Institute. Fiona's face twists with shock and rage. She's never placed below first in any professional competition. 1st place, Michelle Cooper from Cooper Rare Books and Manuscripts. Michelle's gasp of surprise turns into tears of joy. $50,000 in industry recognition that will transform her business prospects. The crowd applauds as she accepts her trophy, and I feel genuinely happy despite the federal complications swirling around us. Later, in Michelle's hotel room, she pours champagne while I struggle with how much to reveal about my interrogation. I can't believe I actually won. This changes everything for my business. You earned it. Your analysis was flawless. Michelle sits beside me on the hotel bed, still glowing with victory. What happens now? With us, I mean. That depends on several factors we need to discuss. Such as? The federal agents want to meet with you about potential business opportunities from clients seeking questionable authentication services. Michelle's expression shifts from celebration to concern. What kind of questions? The kind that suggest someone's been monitoring your business activities, looking for connections to document forgery networks. Are you saying I'm under investigation? I'm saying be very careful about any offers that seem too good to be true, especially from clients who don't want standard provenance verification. Michelle sets down her champagne glass and moves closer. Julia, whatever's happening, we face it together, right? Looking into her blue eyes, knowing what the federal agents expect from me, I realize the championship victory might be the beginning of much bigger problems. Together, I agree, hoping I can find a way to protect her from the storm that's coming. When Michelle kisses me this time, champagne and victory celebration mixing with uncertainty about our future, I know there's no going back to the professional distance Roger demanded. Whatever consequences await, this woman is worth fighting for. 3 months after San Francisco, everything changed in ways neither Michelle nor I could have predicted. The federal investigation proved more complex than anyone anticipated. Those mysterious clients approaching Michelle weren't just running document forgeries. They were part of an international network trafficking stolen historical manuscripts, using legitimate authentication services to launder stolen cultural artifacts. Roger's involvement came to light during the FBI's deeper investigation. His client connections weren't wealthy collectors seeking authentication services. They were middlemen in a sophisticated art theft operation, using law enforcement credentials to legitimize fraudulent provenance documentation. The anonymous messages monitoring Michelle and me? Roger himself, trying to create leverage against anyone who might discover his criminal connections. Hard to believe, Agent Martinez tells us in her downtown San Francisco office. 10 years of using his position to facilitate document trafficking. Your relationship with MS Cooper actually helped expose the entire network. Michelle squeezes my hand across the conference table. How did we help? When Roger tried to pressure MS Torres into ending your professional association, it triggered surveillance protocols. We noticed his unusual interest in your business activities and championship participation. The irony isn't lost on me. Roger's attempts to control my personal life led to his professional downfall. What happens now? I ask. Agent Chen slides documents across the table. The Santa Clara County Forensics Department needs a new supervisor, someone with impeccable credentials and proven resistance to corruption. The promotion offer feels surreal after months of fearing career destruction. And MS Cooper's business? Agent Martinez addresses Michelle directly. Your championship victory attracted legitimate collector interest. Several museums want authentication services for their acquisitions. Michelle's smile lights up the room. Professional recognition without criminal complications? Exactly. 6 weeks later, I'm settling into Roger's former office when Michelle arrives carrying a familiar leather portfolio. Supervisor Torres, I have a document requiring expert analysis. What kind of document, Miss Cooper? She opens the portfolio to reveal an elegant certificate on heavy paper. Partnership agreement between Cooper Rare Books and Torres Forensic Authentication Services. Business proposal. Full partnership, shared expertise, legitimate clients only. I examine the document with professional attention to detail. Terms seem favorable. What about the personal partnership clause? That requires separate negotiation. Michelle moves around my desk, close enough that I catch her familiar perfume. 3 months of uncertainty and federal investigations haven't diminished the attraction between us. What kind of negotiation? Instead of answering, she kisses me with the confidence of someone who's learned that love worth having is worth fighting for. When we break apart, she's smiling with that mixture of professional competence and personal warmth that first attracted me in the courthouse gallery. Move in with me, she says simply. Business partnership and personal partnership. Package deal. That's a significant commitment. I won a $50,000 championship. You solved a federal criminal case and got promoted to department supervisor. I think we can handle commitment. Through my office window, I can see the Santa Clara County Forensics Lab where my career began 8 years ago. Everything I worked for is finally secure. But more importantly, everything I want is sitting right in front of me. Partners, I agree, sealing the arrangement with another kiss that tastes like victory and possibility. Michelle pulls back slightly, blue eyes bright with mischief. Should we tell your new staff about our business arrangement? Let them figure it out gradually. Professional discretion. Very professional, she agrees, her hand finding mine across the partnership documents. Outside, San Jose bustles with afternoon traffic and ordinary people living ordinary lives. But inside my office, signing partnership agreements with a woman who changed my life by bringing me a forged manuscript, nothing feels ordinary at all. Later that evening, in Michelle's brownstone surrounded by rare books and shared dreams, we celebrate multiple victories. Her championship trophy sits on the mantelpiece beside my new supervisor credentials, tangible proof that taking risks sometimes pays off spectacularly. Any regrets? Michelle asks as we curl together on her couch, wine glasses reflecting lamplight. About which part? The career advancement, the business partnership, or falling in love with the client? All of it. I consider the question seriously. The past year brought more upheaval than the previous decade combined, but every challenge led to something better. No regrets. You? Just one. My heart skips. What? Michelle's smile turns wicked. I wish I'd brought you that forged document sooner. When I laugh, she joins in, and the sound fills her home with joy that no amount of professional success could have provided alone. Sometimes the most authentic connections start with the most unexpected circumstances. A forensic handwriting expert and a rare book dealer, brought together by a document forgery and kept together by something much more genuine. In a business built on distinguishing authentic from fake, we found something completely real.